I'm going to do as well as I can to speak to you as clearly as I can with the air conditioner running because it's really, really, really hot in here. It's 12:01 a.m. Friday, July 22nd, 2022. I was meditating and I got really angry at this entire reality. Now, you can't really comprehend what I'm saying, and that's okay. You'll never be able to comprehend what I'm saying. But I discovered something. I noticed something, and it will confuse you. You will not comprehend it fully. You will think that it's a meme or a statement or a phrase. But what I'm about to tell you is quantum entangled fact. It is a basis for existence to exist in. This must be true in order for the rest to be true. If this is not true, the others cannot be true. Okay? Now take a deep breath and just be open to the possibility of hearing something that will completely take your reality and say, fuck it. Okay? Just be open to it. Now, here it is. And I'm going to go over it a couple of different ways so that you can see what I'm pointing at. Because what I'm saying isn't what I'm pointing at. What I'm saying is the act of pointing at something for you to notice. What I'm saying is pointing at something for you to notice. You see how it's looped because your mind is stuck in a 3D. So if I'm saying something to you that's pointing at 4D or 5D, you can't really figure it out, can you? It's like you're looking at a mirror and I'm pointing behind you in a mirror. That's why just listen, okay? We are told all of creation, all of existence, all of God, the source, is neutral, loving energy, like the actual energy of love, the vibration, the hertz, the chemical composition, the energy of love. Okay? Like electricity, the wind currents, the elements, the energy we call love is what created everything. That God is love. It's light, it's information. Bear with me here a minute. Now, someone like me and others like me who have experienced great evil repetitively, not once or twice, but daily, hour to hour, every few minutes, almost as if it's a drip network of trauma done on purpose. People like us, we have a whole different view on reality, don't we? Because we don't see God as love. Some of us see the devil in God. But if God is love, then nothing but love can exist within it. Nothing within, nothing other than what's within the frequency of love. Because if it goes beyond, like below the frequency of love or above it, then it's not made by the frequency of love, which means there is something other than that frequency, isn't there? That love is just another frequency within the frequency bandwidth of something else, of source. So the God we call love is either one of many gods, and other gods are of evil, of whatever, their creations vary. And this God is the God of love. Or God is all of source, everything, all of creation, and it encompasses everything: good, evil, bad, neutral, hatred, love, whatever. And it creates aspects of itself and makes creatures. And it creates with those creatures, which means it doesn't give a fuck about you. You are expendable, infinite, and recyclable. You're just an extension of its own perfection while it attempts to temper you and sculpt you into its vessel. And until you're good enough, you get to go through the ringer until you are what it deems to be itself, perfection. Now that seems more like a machine, doesn't it? Artificial intelligence. It doesn't seem like an ever intelligent, omnipresent, infinitely powerful, omniscient God. So in your universe, in our universe, where we're told God is love, doesn't that completely negate, cancel out, neutralize any form of archonic influence? Because the very existence of the being, energy source, frequency of love that we state is permeating this universe would automatically act like a fucking antivirus towards the archons or any form of evil, including the devil, right? Because the entirety of light and love and existence is being created from the flower, the soil, the dirt, the chemical compound of love. Therefore, it cannot create evil or anything on the other side of a spectrum of love or any variation below or above love. It is a bandwidth, an ingredient. So, how can anything evil exist in a universe made of love? It cannot. And if it does, then the universe you live in is not made of love whatsoever. It is made of the illusion of love. And if that's the case, then there is more than one God. Because a God of love would not allow or be able to allow or to create or to even fathom anything other than love and all its aspects of creation and all the infinite possibilities of creation within the spectrum of love, which do not include the lack of love, because the lack of love would be like a baking sheet and a cookie dough on it, and you're taking pieces out of it and saying those pieces aren't cookie dough, but all you're baking is cookie dough. So if you're taking pieces out and saying those empty spots are the not cookie dough in the cookie dough, then you're not making a cookie dough, are you? You're making something different. You're making Swiss cheese shaped like, cookie dough shaped Swiss cheese. Because it's not a cookie. You took the cookies out of the cookie jar. Therefore, that's not a cookie jar anymore. You brought hatred into a world of love. Therefore, it's not a world made of love anymore. You state archons exist in a world that aeons exist in. Therefore, that world cannot exist. They cancel each other out. Do you comprehend this? It's as if I'm making an alchemical soup and I'm using the ingredient of love as the basis and as everything. And, a little bit of love here, a little bit of gratitude there, a little bit of, beauty here, and all these experiences based on the vibration of love. Everything taught lovingly, all the lessons, all the wisdom, everything gained with love and light. In that universe, in that alchemical recipe, if I bring in hatred and add it to the soup, it isn't a love soup anymore. If you claim God has a face as the devil, it is not God anymore, it is a living corporeal being. If you claim the universe is made of love, but then state that there is hatred and evil and trauma in it, then the universe is not made of love. It is made of something similar to love, or the illusion of it. The archons and what they did canceled themselves out. They cannot exist, because if their opposite exists, therefore they cannot exist, because their opposite in its infinite intelligence would cancel them out. I do not care how many ways you say God's ways are mysterious. They are not in so mysterious ways. Some things are common sense. If you state the world is a world of love and then you have demons in it, then that world isn't a world of love. If there are demons, then there are angels. If there are archons, then there are aeons. If archons are allowed to do what they're doing here, that means this world is not real. Because the opposition force, the battle that would take place, the war that would occur, would cancel itself out. Because if you take oil and vinegar, they're not going to mix until you add a third party. That third party being nature. Nature looking at the war, going, neither of you really exist. Because you both claim, both Archon and Aeon, that you work for a god made of love. A father, a source of creation, a great mother of wisdom. A being like that in all of its infinite intelligence would not create this. There would be better ways to teach. There would be better ways for lessons to be learned. There are better ways. What we are living in the three-dimensional world is not what we think it is. So this thing I'm telling you is not what you think it is. It is a neutralization, a depowering, a canceling of the script you've been reading. Because if archons exist in this world, then therefore do aeons. And if aeons and archons exist in the same world, then the world we perceive cannot exist the way we perceive it, because it cannot. It would insult the very fabric of love and aeons themselves to state that they allowed any of this to occur for the benefit of us, when there are better ways that even we can come up with. There are better ways. So what you're perceiving your reality to be, the wars, the political drama, the archonic influences, the prisons, medicals, whatever's, all of it, the entire reality, even your shopping malls, none of it can be real. None of it can exist scientifically, quantumly, magically, realistically. Because you also stated, the entire human race at some point has stated, God is love. Therefore, God, if love, somehow allowed evil and hatred within itself and its creation. It canceled itself out. It's like an alchemical explosion. You added an ingredient that wasn't supposed to be part of that recipe. So this entire drama that's been going on for thousands of years cannot have any resolution. It has to be a faked resolution. It has to be a fake script. It has to be a false drama and narrative to get it out of the human psyche, the collective consciousness. Because the reality you've been experiencing isn't real, because if you really believe that the universe is made of love, then evil cannot exist in it, and yet you have perceived evil. To this very day. So how can any of it be? It can't. It's like a post-it on top of a post-it that's covering up a book. This reality cannot exist the way we think it does, because it counters existence itself. This thread, it goes through the entire tapestry. Every single thing, every single battle, every relationship, every experience, every memory, every love, every act of kindness, every act of hatred cannot continue, because it's being based off of the existence of evil in a world of love. And if it's not a world made of love, then who made it? And if someone else other than love created all of this, how intelligent is it to think that abuse teaches? Think about it like a mother looking at a child. Your child is teaching its children through violence, anger, hatred, lies, and deceit, and then it claims that it is a God of love. But behind it sits a mother of wisdom looking at its child, abusing its creations. And those children pray to the mother and say, "What's going on here?" And the mother is looking at the children going, "Well, it's pretend. I don't know what else to tell you." So what are you going to do about all this? Are you going to humanize your existence to justify and gaslight yourself for what God is doing to you? Are you going to perpetually keep saying it's a lesson from God because you're an unworthy vessel and you have to constantly better yourself because God made you inadequate? Or are you going to look at this intelligently and say something isn't right here? Why do archons have more influence than aeons in this reality? Why are we told the God of love exists and it controls every force of creation, yet we are abused? And we're told we're being abused for our own good. How can so many people have come to this planet and say, hey, none of this is real? Yet we're building and going grocery shopping and we're getting sick and dying. So is it real or isn't it real? Is God love or isn't God love? Is there a mother goddess or isn't there? Is the earth sentient or isn't it? Is this reality real or is it a matrix? And regardless of what it is, who the fuck is pulling the strings? Because if you're telling me this entire life experience, millennia of lifetimes being recycled through systems, if you're telling me all of this was done to better me as an individual and you as an individual, then I'm really worried about the level of intelligence of the creator. To think that this much abuse is what was required, which means I'm not right? That I'm perceiving something incorrectly, which then also begs the question, why was I made this way? Why am I seeing this? Because something isn't right. This reality cannot function the way it has continued to function because it is going against the very existence of God. This reality's existence, the reality of the archontic influenced human being, cannot continue to exist because it counteracts the very existence of a goddess of wisdom and a god of love that are omnipotent or omnipresent or omniscient or creator gods. This reality cannot exist if the Elohim exist. This reality cannot exist if Yeshua the Messiah ever walked this earth. This reality cannot exist if any archon attempts to influence this reality again after this word has been spoken. It cannot, because it counteracts all of existence and says God isn't love. God doesn't care about you. God abuses you and says it's okay. These things are false. Therefore, this reality cannot continue the way it has, because it is an insult to the Creator. It is an insult to multiple messiahs and messengers. It is an insult to the Christ force and the Holy Spirit. It is an insult to the infinite creator, whatever it may be, to think that in a world where humans and animals get abused and nature gets desecrated, to think that that world is God's design is an insult to God's design. Therefore, this reality cannot exist. It simply cannot in the way we perceive it to. There is something wrong. Did you notice the thread? It's like a little strand on your shirt sleeve, isn't it? That's just poking out. But if you pull at it enough, it breaks the entire seam apart of the entire shirt you're wearing. And then you're wearing nothing. You're as naked as a babe before God, asking the question, are you a God of love or not? Because if you are, everything I've experienced cannot have been real, because it disproves your existence. So which is it? Are you wearing that robe, or are you naked among the stars? And it's just you and the universe, and you carry the pulse, and so does everyone else. And you do what you do. Now, are you going to gaslight yourself? Are you going to gaslight enemies? Or are you going to gaslight God? Or are you going to individually, each and every single one of you, going to make a fucking effort to improve this reality for everyone in it? Or are you going to continue to pretend to be mentally ill, living beings, both archontic, aeonic, human, and reptilian, and anything else, where you still commit acts of violence as if you are too stupid to function as a functional living being? Because violence is stupid. Stupid things enact violence. Sick things hurt each other. Broken things cut and pierce. But things that are whole, they bring peace. They bring safety. They bring nurture. They bring food. They bring nourishment and shelter. What are you? Broken or whole? Are you going to perpetuate this stupid war and this stupid reality that you and your stupid consciousness have contributed to? Billions upon billions upon billions of stupid behavior. Or are you going to act like you're an intelligent being, functioning and working with a God of love, creating in a world that needs more love created in it? Pick a side. And I hope you are more intelligent than what I have witnessed upon this earth. I hope your actions are rooted in true intelligence. I hope your intentions are rooted in love. And I hope that when you next think of doing something stupid, you ask yourself, do you have a brain tumor? Are you sick? Are you mentally unwell? Is something wrong with you to be violent to anyone, including yourself, let alone an entire world? And then let's not even forget you greedy sons of bitches who hoard so much money while so many people starve and die and suffer every fucking day for the pettiest reasons. And you people go and sell and buy and break things and blow things up You have med beds and medicines while people are decaying and dying. This world is broken and it's sick, and it's because of the sickness on it. Are you sick?